Haley is, whether she's with me or not, she's with me every day. And like, she has been my main, like, source of drive and motivation.
You think Eminem was better than me?
What you saying right now?
Game, you don't want to go versus against
Yes,
Eminem.
I do. What do you mean? Yeah, I do.
Eminem and Ja Rule were both climbing fast, shaking up hip-hop at the exact same time. In 1999, they each dropped debut albums that set the tone for the next era. Eminem lit the world on fire with the Slim Shady LP and his wild hit My Name Is.
The reason that I dissed him is because he got on. First when he said, I'm the greatest rapper.
Meanwhile, Ja Rule made his mark with Veni Vedi Veci, pushing Holla Holla into every club and street corner. Through the early 2000s, they stood shoulder to shoulder with DMX and Jay-Z, running the charts and shaping the culture. But even with their shared success, the way they were packaged couldn't have been more different. Eminem thrived off shock, controversy, and chaos. Ja Rule, on the other hand, slid into the mainstream with a formula nobody saw coming: rap mixed with R&B hooks that fans couldn't resist. He linked up with Ashanti for back-to-back smashes like Always on Time and Mesmerize. With Christina Milian, he delivered Between Me and You. And with Jennifer Lopez, he gave the world I'm Real, a crossover moment that had everyone talking. Ja Rule's pop-friendly formula didn't just work. It shot him straight into global superstardom. He was racking up Grammy nominations and becoming one of the most recognizable rappers of the new millennium. But while Ja Rule was conquering radio with smooth hooks and chart-topping collabs, Eminem was building a whole different empire.
They had a relationship because they had hung out together and got high together. Okay. So from there, he felt like there was something that they was closer than they was based on that. This is Josh.
In 1999, the Slim Shady LP made Eminem the face of shock rap overnight. His lyrics were graphic, twisted, and brutally honest, blending dark storytelling with razor-sharp wit. He wasn't just rapping, he was painting outrageous pictures that people couldn't stop talking about. And the controversy only made him bigger. There was another layer too. Eminem stood out as a white rapper dominating a genre created and built by black artists. He knew it, he admitted it, and he didn't hide from it. On White America off the Eminem Show, he laid it bare with the line, "If I was black, I would have sold half." That honesty about privilege didn't slow him down one bit. In fact, it made him even more of a lightning rod. While Ja Rule stayed consistent with hit after hit, Eminem climbed to a throne all his own, becoming the top-selling rapper in history. But it wasn't just sales that made him dangerous. Eminem had a weapon few rappers could match: his ability to end careers with just a couple of bars. His confrontational style and no-holds-barred disses turned feuding into part of his brand, and nobody in the industry felt safe from being dragged into his lyrical fire. Eminem never ducked smoke. In fact, he thrived on it.
You also, on this album, you went in on MGK. You guys had a discrepancy. What's the shit with that? What happened?
Well, the shit is, just for the record, the thing that was going on that he was saying about my daughter, I didn't even know about that.
With his sharp tongue and insane record sales, he could out-rap and outsell nearly anyone who dared to step to him. That's why his list of enemies reads like a roll call of pop culture itself. Michael Jackson, Moby, Christina Aguilera, NSYNC, Nick Cannon, Mariah Carey. Nobody was too big or too beloved to get torched in his music. And it wasn't just pop stars catching strays. Inside hip-hop, legends and hopefuls alike, Cannabis, Vanilla Ice, and Benzino all tried their luck against M, and most of them walked away with their careers scarred. But here's the twist. Ja Rule wasn't always on that hit list. At first, there was nothing but mutual respect. Both were ruling the charts, both were stars of their moment, and according to 50 Cent himself in a 2022 Breakfast Club interview, Eminem and Ja Rule even partied together in those early years. Everything flipped when Eminem and Dr. Dre decided to sign Ja Rule's loudest rival, a hungry, fearless 50 Cent, to Shady Aftermath. At first, Eminem tried to stay neutral, not wanting to dive into the middle of another man's beef. But the hip-hop world of the early 2000s was a battlefield, and once the diss tracks started flying, silence wasn't an option. The heart of it all, 50 Cent versus Ja Rule.
I was there for 2 days and we recorded four songs during that time period. While I was there, Ja said something about him, and he mentioned Ailey. I seen him offended by what he said.
A war that became one of the most explosive rivalries hip-hop had ever seen. Ja Rule was already platinum, living large with hits everywhere. while 50 Cent was still grinding, hungry for his spot. To him, Ja wasn't just competition, he was an obstacle. 50 saw Ja as a poser, a so-called gangster who didn't really live the life he rapped about, even while screaming murder as his trademark chant. Behind all the tough talk, Ja Rule's real upbringing looked very different from the image he sold on wax. In Queens, his family was well known as devoted Jehovah's Witnesses, and young Ja would even go door to door spreading the word of God. That's a far cry from the hardened street figure he later portrayed in his music, and 50 Cent wasted no time using that against him. In 1999, 50 dropped Your Life's on the Line, a diss track that ripped straight into Ja Rule's credibility. The hook mocked his infamous murder chant with brutal sarcasm: "Scream murder, I don't believe you. Murder, I don't believe you." With every line, 50 made it clear. He saw Ja as a fraud, a studio gangster putting on an act. But the music was just the beginning. Real-life drama only made the feud more explosive. That same year, Ja Rule was allegedly robbed of his chain by a Queens hustler named Lil Troy. The streets lit up with the story, and according to 50, Ja's real anger started because 50 had been spotted hanging around Troy afterwards. To 50, that's what set the grudge in motion. Ja Rule, though, had a completely different take. In a 2014 sit-down with Vlad TV, he flat out denied that the Lil Troy incident had anything to do with his beef with 50 Cent. Tension between Ja Rule and 50 Cent exploded after the robbery incident, and it only got uglier from there. During one of Ja's video shoots in Jamaica, Queens 50 tried to approach him, but Ja brushed him off in front of everyone. That one cold shoulder left 50 humiliated. And from that moment on, he made it his personal mission to tear Ja down piece by piece. 50 flooded his music with attacks, calling Ja a fake gangster and mocking his murder inquirer's persona. Ja Rule fired back with silence, brushing 50 off as a nobody desperate for clout off his name. But things quickly crossed from words to violence. When both were booked at an Atlanta nightclub, tensions boiled over, and the crews clashed in a physical fight before anyone even hit the stage. The drama hit a deadly serious level on March 24, 2000. Both camps ended up at the legendary Hit Factory studio in Manhattan. Word got back to Ja Rule that 50 was inside, and Ja's crew stormed the spot. Chaos erupted, and Ja's associate, rapper Black Child, stabbed 50 Cent, leaving him with a chest wound and a partially collapsed lung. As if that wasn't enough, just weeks later, in May 2000, 50 Cent was ambushed outside his grandmother's house in Jamaica, Queens, and shot 9 times. He barely survived. Columbia Records quickly dropped him, and Ja Rule celebrated, rapping about it as if the war was already won. But 50 wasn't done. He came back stronger, unleashing raw mixtapes like Power of a Dollar, with the same fearless energy that first put him on the map. The streets were paying attention, and so were the industry's biggest names. Eminem and Dr. Dre saw more than just an up-and-comer. They saw a survivor with a story that couldn't be ignored. In a 2003 XXL interview, Eminem admitted, "His life story sold me. To have a story behind the music is so important." Eminem's cosign didn't just change 50 Cent's career, it flipped the entire power dynamic of the feud. Once 50 officially signed to Shady/Aftermath, he suddenly had the two biggest forces in hip-hop, Eminem and Dr. Dre, backing him up. With that kind of machine behind him, Ja Rule wasn't just fighting 50 anymore. He was fighting an empire. The results showed fast. 50's fiery diss at Ja Wanksta landed on the 8 Mile soundtrack, instantly giving him a massive platform and catapulting him into the mainstream. That track alone leveled the playing field, proving that Ja Rule's chart dominance was no longer untouchable. And while Ja Rule and Irv Gotti made it clear they were furious at Eminem for siding with 50, it didn't stop the momentum one bit. At first, Eminem tried to stay just outside the line of fire, but when he dropped the Benzino diss Go to Sleep, featuring Obi Trice and DMX, the gloves came off. In the track, M made it crystal clear with one cutting bar, "Ja, you'll get it too." That was the moment he officially stepped into 50's war, and it sent shockwaves through the game. By early 2003, the feud wasn't just Ja versus 50 anymore. It had mutated into a full-on rap civil war. 50, Eminem, G-Unit, and D12 on one side, and Ja with Murder Inc. on the other. Even outside, players like DMX and Busta Rhymes joined in on tracks like Go to Sleep and Hail Mary, adding more fuel to the fire. Ja Rule responded with one of the most infamous diss tracks ever, Loose Chain, a song that didn't just diss, it detonated. Loose Chain became notorious for one reason. It crossed lines most rappers wouldn't dare touch. The track wasn't just a diss, it was pure disrespect, and it immediately triggered a wave of brutal responses from Eminem, 50 Cent, and D12. What made it unforgettable was Ja Rule's decision to drag Eminem's family into the beef.
What did you say about his daughter that got him so mad?
Yes.
What did you say?
You know what I said.
That she's hot.
She's
You,
hot.
you have to admit you was out of line for that.
She was
for that
15,
too,
16, taking shots that went way beyond music. The most shocking bar came when Ja spit, "M, you claim your mother's a crackhead, and Kim is a known, so what's Haley gonna be when she grows up?" That single line hit Eminem on the deepest personal level. It wasn't just rap beef anymore, it was war. Eminem's crew clapped back fast with Haley's Revenge, also known as Do Re Mi. The track didn't feature a full M verse, but his fingerprints were all over it. It opened with a savage skit where his daughter was used as the setup punch, followed by D12 unloading on Ja Rule with ruthless verses. Eminem himself closed it out with a chilling warning, threatening Ja in no uncertain terms to never bring up his family again. The energy was venomous. You could hear the rage dripping through every second. Meanwhile, D12 had their own fun mocking Ja Rule for trying to reinvent himself as a new Tupac. By 2003, Ja had started rocking the bandana, tattooing his body like Pac, and leaning heavier into a gangster persona, even while still pushing those R&B hooks that made him famous. The diss tracks just kept getting nastier. D12's Swifty McVeigh went straight for the jugular with, you a replica guy? If he was still alive, you would never get by. All you do is cry. Keep it real. Life is more than imitating than eating pills. The shots were brutal, and they didn't stop there. Obi Trice piled on with an even harsher verse. He was a actor/Pac impersonating rapper/Billie Holiday. How it happened? Def Jam grabbed him, told him reenact him, you go platinum. They seen it for sure. I know Afeni Shakur don't enjoy Jeffrey Atkins reenacting her boy. That bar cut deep, calling Ja Rule out as nothing more than a Pac knockoff manufactured for sales. And the disrespect didn't slow down. With Eminem, 50 Cent, and eventually even Busta Rhymes linking up, Ja found himself facing an army. Together, they put out the now infamous diss Hail Mary, a savage parody of Tupac's classic track. Eminem opened it with venom, tearing into Ja's character. You ain't no killer, you're a ecstasy done got you all emotional and mushy, wearing rags and photos, Ja's words being quoted in the source, stealing Pac's shit like he just wrote it. Then he mocked Ja with a chorus sung in Pac's style, clowning him with, Shady, if Pac was still here now, he would never ride with Ja, nah, 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 nah. Even Busta Rhymes joined the pile-on, firing, it's kind of funny, wanna be Pac, wanna fake like you thug, running around talking shit that you ain't capable of. By this point, the tide had completely turned. Fans weren't just siding with Eminem and 50 Cent, they were watching Ja Rule crumble under the weight of non-stop diss tracks and public humiliation. What was meant to be Ja and Irv Gotti's bold move against Shady aftermath backfired in spectacular fashion. Going after Eminem, the world's biggest rapper at the time, was a colossal miscalculation. Eminem wasn't just another lyricist, he was a battle-hardened machine built for conflict. Every feud only fueled his legend, and taking him on meant inviting a war you couldn't possibly win. His pull in the industry made things even worse for Murder Inc. Instead of rallying allies, Ja and Irv ended up isolating themselves, cutting off the connections they desperately needed to survive. Meanwhile, 50 Cent was rising like a phoenix. Fresh off surviving 9 bullets and carrying the full weight of Eminem and Dr. Dre's empire behind him, he wasn't just the underdog anymore. He was the chosen one. By the peak of his career, it was undeniable. 50 was about to become the next king of hip-hop, while Murder Inc. was drowning against the current. The contrast was brutal. Eminem, D12, 50, and G-Unit kept stacking platinum plaques and critical acclaim, with every member dropping hits that expanded their dominance. Murder Inc., on the other hand, couldn't get his footing. Aside from Ja Rule and Ashanti, the label had no breakout stars, and its attempts to juggle too many projects left it stretched thin and failing to deliver. But the biggest blow wasn't musical, it was legal. Ja Rule and Irv Gotti's fiercest battle moved from the charts to the courtroom when federal prosecutors charged them with laundering money for notorious Queens drug lord Kenneth Supreme McGriff. The walls began closing in on Murder Inc. when the federal government accused the label of being a front for Supreme's drug empire. On January 3, 2003, federal agents stormed Murder Inc.'s Manhattan offices in a dramatic raid that sent shockwaves through the entire industry. What followed was a grueling 2-year legal war with Chris and Irv Gotti fighting to prove their multi-million-dollar label wasn't built on laundered drug money. The case drained Murder Inc. dry. Reports say the Gotti brothers spent over $10 million in legal fees trying to defend their name. That financial bleeding crippled the label, leaving them unable to keep pace with Eminem and 50 Cent, who were dominating the charts without missing a step. While Shady aftermath was expanding, Murder Inc. was bleeding cash just to stay alive. The timing couldn't have been worse for Ja Rule. On November 4th, 2003, he dropped his 5th studio album, Blood in My Eye, a project designed to silence critics who accused him of being too soft and leaning too heavy on pop hooks. Ja ditched the love ballads and R&B collabs, replacing them with grittier beats and hardcore features in an attempt to reclaim his street image. But the gamble backfired. The album was slammed with mixed to negative reviews, with many critics calling it forced and uninspired. Instead of reviving his credibility, it marked the beginning of Ja Rule's slide into irrelevance, a sharp contrast to the unstoppable rise of Eminem and 50 Cent. While the war with Ja Rule raged, Eminem was also fighting demons of his own: addiction, a turbulent home life, and a messy on and off marriage with Kim that he never shied away from airing out in his music. By 2004, with his rivals crumbling and the beef turning uglier by the day, M took a step back and dropped one of his most reflective tracks ever, Like Toy Soldiers off his Encore album. The song wasn't a diss, it was a confession. Eminem broke down the cycle of beef, admitting how far things had spiraled. He rapped, "Josh it, I tried to squash it, it was too late to stop it. There's a certain line you just don't cross," and he crossed it. I heard him saying Haley's name on a song and I just lost it. That moment of honesty hit fans hard, showing M's regret for letting the feud consume so much of his energy. It was seen as a rare, mature move in a genre built on pride and retaliation. Eminem held all the cards. He was the best-selling rapper alive, with Interscope Records behind him, and his enemies struggling financially. He could have kept pressing the gas, but instead, he chose to end it on his terms. With Like Toy Soldiers, M closed the book, signaling that while he had won the beef, it left him feeling hollow. As he admitted on the track, "Even though the battle was won, I feel like we lost it. I spent so much energy on it, honestly, I'm exhausted. And I'm so caught in it, I almost feel like I'm the one who caused it. This ain't what I'm in hip-hop for. It's not why I got in it." After that, the landscape shifted. Ja Rule faded out of the spotlight almost completely, while 50 Cent kept his run going for a few more years before his own sales began to slide. Even after all the smoke cleared, the ripple effects of the feud never fully disappeared. 50 Cent managed to stay more relevant than Ja Rule, not through music, but by reinventing himself as a ruthless businessman and one of TV's most successful producers. Ja, on the other hand, slipped further into the background, his name living more as a cautionary tale than an active force in hip-hop. Eminem, meanwhile, remained a giant. His music continued to sell in huge numbers, but even fans admitted it didn't always carry the same shockwave it once did. Still, his place in history was untouchable, and when it came to the beef, he mostly let silence speak for him. That doesn't mean he forgot. Every now and then, M slips in a reminder. On Guilty Conscience 2 from his 2024 album, The Death of Slim Shady, he threw a sly jab. When I say midgets, I mean Ja Rule. A callback to his 2003 track Haley's Revenge, where he once labeled Ja a little man. Even with all the venom that was spilled, time has a way of cooling the fire. In a 2014 interview with Vlad TV, Ja Rule revealed that he and Eminem actually crossed paths during a flight layover. And instead of trading insults, they had a surprisingly respectful conversation. According to Ja, M told him straight up that it was never personal. It was just rap. He was backing his artist, 50 Cent, and doing what hip-hop demanded at the time. Still, the damage was already written in history. The feud between Eminem, 50 Cent, and Ja Rule wasn't just another rap clash. It was a cultural earthquake. It reshaped the industry, demolished Murder Inc.'s empire, and marked the beginning of the end for Ja Rule's reign. Even now, it remains one of the defining beefs of the 2000s, proof of just how brutal hip-hop rivalries could get. So what do you think? Did Ja Rule ever have a chance against Eminem and 50? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. if you want more deep dives like this.